back to another episode of Jalisa's Fashion Files. For this week's episode, I will be showing you guys how to correctly take your measurements in order to determine your body shape. Now, the reason why I wanted to do this video is because I've received so many comments and emails from you guys just asking how you should be measuring yourselves or where you should be measuring in order to determine your body shape. Now, a lot of the times when you guys ask me, what body shape am I? The first thing I'll ask you is, are you able to take your measurements? And those of you that are able to take those measurements, you just don't know where to measure. So I felt it would be a really good idea for me to do a video where I would be demonstrating where you should be taking those measurements and how. So we're going to need three things in order to do this successfully. The first thing we'll be needing is a measuring strip like this one that's going to be flexible and that's going to be able to bend around your body. The second thing is you need to make sure that you're wearing something that's pretty tight and conforming yet comfortable for your body, because you don't want to wear something like this or anything that's loose fitting, because the extra fabric will get in the way while we're taking the measurements and it can affect the accuracy. So you want to make sure that you're going with something that's pretty conforming to your body shape. And I also wanted to make sure that you guys are aware that you should not be wearing a bra while we're doing this. You want to make sure you're removing that, because if you're wearing a push-up bra or padding or inserts, any of those things are going to affect the accuracy of your bust measurement. So you want to make sure at this time that you're removing your bra and you're just dressed head to toe in something that's pretty conforming to your body. And the third thing you're going to need is a paper and pencil so that you can write down your measurements, and at the end you'll be able to review them to determine which body shape you are. So we're going to be taking three measurements: the bust, waist, and hips. Now, these three areas of the body are very important when it comes to trying to determine your body shape. Now, I know that there are other factors that come into play, such as your bone structure, but these three areas of the body are the most important when trying to determine your shape. So the first measurement that we're going to be taking is the bust. So you want to make sure that you're starting off from the back across the center of the bust, where the measuring strip intersects with the other side. That is the number that you are, so you want to make sure that you jot that down next to bust. Now, moving on to the waist, you want to make sure that you're going for the smallest part of your waist. A lot of people get confused where this area is. They think it's across the belly button, underneath the belly button. It's actually above the belly button. So the way to find this out is to take your hands and to feel for your rib cage. Where your rib cage ends, that is the smallest part of your waist. So you're going to start again from the back and going across to the front, to the center of your stomach area where your waist is, and that is going to be your waist measurement. And finally, for our hip measurement, we're going to take the measuring strip across the fullest part of our hips, which is going to be across the center of our booties, all the way across to the front, and again, where the measuring strip intersects, that's going to be your hip measurement. Okay, so now that we have these three measurements, and I hope that you guys jot them down like I mentioned, we're going to compare them in order to determine which shape you are. So if you are a pear shape, you're going to notice that your hip measurement is the largest of the three, and the smallest measurement is going to be your waist. If you are an apple shape, you're going to notice that your bust and your waist measurements are fairly close in number, and your hip measurements are closer to your bust measurement. Now, I know I don't mention the inverted triangle as much in my videos as I do on Facebook or on my blog, so I wanted to make sure I mentioned it here, because if you do fall into this category, it's going to be very obvious when you're taking your measurements. So if you are an inverted triangle, you are going to notice that your bust measurement is the largest of the three, and then your smallest measurement is going to be around your hip area. So your body basically tapers in as an upside down triangle, which is why it's called an inverted triangle. So you're going to be widest where your bust area is, it's going to taper in towards your waist section, and then your hips are fairly narrow. Now, if you are rectangular, you're going to notice that your bust, waist, and hip measurements are fairly close in number. However, your waist measurement is going to be either 1 to 8 measurements smaller than your bust. And finally, if you are an hourglass, you will notice that your bust and your hip measurements are fairly close in number. They're generally like about a number or two off, and your waist measurement is going to be about 8 to 12 inches smaller than both your bust and your hips. So hopefully that gave you guys a better understanding of which shape you are, so you can determine it for yourselves and understand why you are the shape that you are. I know it can be a bit challenging when you're trying to determine it visually, especially if you're wearing, bulky clothes, or you're just wearing an outfit, there's a lot of volume. It could be difficult to look into the mirror and to determine that way what shape you are. I also wanted to mention, I know that there are a lot of body shape calculators online. I just want to mention that you want to be careful when you're just relying on those sources, because some of them you'll notice if you go to like 3 different websites, for instance, one will say that you're an hourglass, the other will say you're an apple, and then the other one will say you're a pear. So you just don't want to solely rely on those sources. That's why I explained how to compare the measurements so that you can get an idea for yourself. And if you just want to play around with a body shape calculator just to see if it would confirm what you believe that you are, then that's fine. But just don't solely depend on a body shape calculator in determining your body shape. As always, I hope that this video was helpful to you guys. If you still are a bit confused with some things, don't hesitate to leave your question and comments down below. And don't forget to check out my fashion blog, jalisasfashionfiles.com, as well as my Facebook page where I'm always posting fashion and styling tips for the different body shapes, outfit of the day, inspirations, and how you'd be able to tweak what I'm wearing to complement your body shape and to get inspiration for styling yourselves. And that's basically it. So I will see you guys in my next video. Until then, don't forget to stay beautiful, confident, and true to your beautiful selves. Bye, guys.